not your internet plan, not your router brand. And no, your Wi-Fi isn't broken. That's the first lie most people believe. Because when Wi-Fi feels slow, people assume something is wrong. They blame the provider. They blame the router. They blame distance. They blame walls. But almost no one blames the real problem. And that problem is already inside your home. Your Wi-Fi isn't slow. It's overwhelmed. And once you understand why, you'll never look at your home network the same way again. Because Wi-Fi doesn't work the way most people think it does. It doesn't push internet. It negotiates access. Inside your home, every device is competing. Right now, even the ones you're not using. Your phone syncs photos silently. Your TV preloads shows you aren't watching. Your laptop checks for updates. Smart devices stay awake. Background apps never sleep. And all of them are asking for attention at the same time. Wi-Fi isn't a pipe. It's shared airspace. And shared airspace means conflict. Every request waits its turn. Some win, some lose, and some never get priority at all. That's why speed feels random. That's why nights feel worse. That's why upgrades disappoint. Because more speed doesn't fix competition. It only feeds it. Most homes don't have a speed problem. They have a control problem. And almost no one ever opens the dashboard to fix it. That's where everything changes. Because your router isn't just a signal box. It's traffic control. And it's already making decisions for you. Quietly. Every second. Let's slow this down. Because once you see what your router actually does, you'll realize how much power you've been leaving unused. Every device in your home passes through one gate. One. Phones, laptops, TVs, cameras, game consoles, smart speakers, everything. And that gate doesn't just allow traffic. It decides order, priority, delay, access, protection. Your router decides who gets speed first, who waits, who slows down, and who gets blocked completely. Most people never realize this, because nothing looks broken. But the decisions are happening anyway. That video call that glitches? Something else was chosen over you. That stream that buffers? Another device won the negotiation. That download that crawls? It's being politely told to wait. Wi-Fi doesn't feel slow. It feels unfair. Because it is. Unless you tell it otherwise. This is where most people make their second mistake. They assume Wi-Fi weakness comes from distance, or walls, or placement. But distance doesn't kill Wi-Fi. Walls don't either. Competition does. Wi-Fi spreads outward, not downward. So when routers sit on floors, half the signal is wasted immediately. Not because it disappears, but because it's sent where nothing uses it. Placement decides who even gets invited to compete. Elevation matters. Central positioning matters. But even perfect placement doesn't solve overload. Because placement only improves reach. It doesn't improve fairness. That's where settings matter. And this is where almost every home fails. Because modern routers ship with professional features turned off. Not broken. Just unused. One of the most powerful is something almost no one checks. Device priority, also known as traffic control. This is where your router stops being passive and starts choosing winners. Most people think Wi-Fi treats devices equally. It doesn't. It just pretends to, until you tell it otherwise. Your router can be instructed to protect what matters. Your work calls, your live streams, your meetings, your gaming, your uploads. Everything else can wait. Background devices don't need instant speed. They need patience. But without rules, everything fights equally. And when everything fights, nothing wins. That's why speed feels unstable. That's why some moments feel perfect and others feel unusable. The router isn't broken. It's undecided. And indecision kills performance. Once you enable prioritization, something interesting happens. Wi-Fi stops feeling emotional. It becomes predictable. Calls stay clear. Streams stop buffering. Downloads finish without disrupting everything else. Same internet, same router, different rules. And this is only one layer, because most homes are also leaking access without realizing it. Sharing one password, one network, one open gate. Guests connect. Old devices stay remembered. Smart gadgets never disconnect. And suddenly your private network isn't private at all. Not hacked, just crowded. This is why guest networks exist. Not for convenience, for separation. A guest network isn't about trust. It's about boundaries. Visitors get internet. They don't get access. Not to devices, not to files, not to your smart home, not to internal traffic. Yet most homes never turn it on, because the option is hidden, not missing, hidden. And when you don't open the dashboard, you never see it. The router assumes you don't care, so it keeps everything merged. One space, one fight, one set of consequences. But separation changes behavior instantly. Guests stop competing. Devices breathe. Traffic lightens. Performance stabilizes. And privacy quietly improves. Still no upgrades. Still no new hardware. Just awareness. And this awareness goes deeper. Much deeper. Because modern routers don't just move traffic. They watch patterns. Not content. Patterns. What connects. When it connects. How long it stays. What behavior looks normal. And what suddenly doesn't. This isn't spying. It's observation. And observation enables protection. Some routers can detect strange behavior at the network level. Not viruses you click. Not apps you install. But unusual requests. Suspicious activity. Devices behaving differently than yesterday. Connections that don't belong. And when that happens, the router can stop it. Before it reaches your phone. Before it touches your laptop. Before anything looks wrong. But only if you enable it. Because protection without permission stays dormant. Again, not broken, unused. This is why calling it just Wi-Fi is outdated. Wi-Fi isn't a pipe. It's a decision system. It manages flow. It controls access. It sets rules. And rules shape experience. Every smart device depends on this. Lights, cameras, assistants. They don't talk to each other first. They talk to the router. The router becomes the center. And most people leave the center untouched. Default passwords, default rules, default behavior. Not because they want to, but because no one tells them what's possible. And here's the part almost no one talks about. When systems operate without your input, they still operate. They just decide for you. Your router already chooses who gets speed, who waits, who connects, who doesn't, who is protected, who isn't. The only difference between control and chaos is whether you participate. This isn't about fear. It's about leverage. Because once you understand how Wi-Fi actually works, you stop guessing. You stop blaming. You stop upgrading blindly. And you start controlling the space you already own. That's why upgrades disappoint. That's why extenders fail. That's why faster plans feel the same. Because they don't address decision-making. They just add more noise. Better Wi-Fi isn't louder. It's smarter. And once Wi-Fi becomes intentional, everything changes. Performance stabilizes. Stress drops. And your home network stops feeling unpredictable. This is the shift. From passive usage to active control. And most homes never make it. Not because they can't, but because no one told them to look. And in the next step, There's one setting almost no home ever checks, the one that quietly decides priority every single day, even when you think nothing is happening. And once you see it, you won't unsee it.